Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Seth Nutting. Wartburg has NCAA playoff expectations this season, but they're the easiest team on the first half of Buena Vista's schedule. The Beavers began 0-4 against 4 ranked teams, heading into Wartburg's homecoming game. The new mascot, Sir Victor, getting the crowd fired up in his debut. The Knights go 3-and-out on their first possession, but the Beavers muff the punt and Wartburg takes a quick 6-0 lead. Later in the first, Ben Seats somehow hangs on through a vicious hit in the end zone, and Buena Vista responds to go up 7-6. Then it's Jacobsmeyer to Stiegel for their second connection of the day. This time Stiegel gets on the turf to make the grab. With the 2-point conversion, Wartburg leads 17-14 at the break. Knights up 10 now, but BV still hanging around. Bobby Brown finds Adam Cave in the end zone. These two hooked up for 2 touchdowns, and this one cuts Wartburg's lead to 3 late in the third quarter. That's when Stiegel made his biggest play of his biggest game. Jacobsmeyer hits him on a quick pass, then he slips through 1 tackle, outruns a few more defenders, cuts upfield, and avoids 3 more to take it to the house for a 43-yard touchdown, giving the Knights a 30-21 lead. After Jacobsmeyer was nicked up late in the game, Logan Schrader came in, delivering the final blow with a 10-yard toss to Donald Miller. Wartburg improves to 4-1 with a 37-29 homecoming victory over Buena Vista. The Knights play at Luther this Saturday. Coming up on Sports Night, the number 2 ranked women's cross-country team took to the trail this weekend. How would they respond without their top runner? And the volleyball team was in action last Tuesday. Could they keep up their recent streak of dominance in the Iowa Conference? Sports Night is back in 2 minutes. Wartburg hosted second-seeded Co in the Iowa Conference Tournament Championship Saturday. Sports Night's Nathan Ford has the highlights. On homecoming, Wartburg hosted its annual Dan Houston Invite. Both teams came into the meet ranked nationally, and boy would they show it. The women came into the meet as the number 2 ranked team in the nation. The Knights came up 2 points shy of a perfect score, winning the meet with 17 points. They were led by Sammy Brewitt, who took first place overall with a time of 21 minutes and 59 seconds. Aaron Sawyers, Hattie Vodder, and Serena Goetzel finished the meet 2nd, 3rd, and 4th respectively for Wartburg. Sam Reed led the way on the men's side, placing 2nd for the Knights with a time of 25 minutes and 43 seconds. Chase Mosier and Ryan Clobberdance finished 8th and 9th, both with a time of 25 minutes and 59 seconds. However, it wouldn't be enough placing 2nd behind the Iowa State Running Club. The Knights will be back in action this Saturday at the UW Lacrosse Invite. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Seth Nutting. We start the show off with Sports Night's very own Justin Zacconi, who has highlights from IIAC volleyball semifinals against Luther. So what makes both the men's and women's cross-country teams so dominant? This week on Inside the Numbers, Nathan Ford shows us what makes Wartburg just so good. Wartburg will be adding a new sport in the spring of 2015. I sat down for an in-depth interview with the newest member of the Knights coaching staff. The volleyball team came away with the win Tuesday night against Buena Vista, but would their string of consecutive sets in the Iowa Conference be broken? It was homecoming week for the Knights volleyball team, and they would not disappoint the home crowd. Wartburg would take the lead early with freshman Claire Willebring getting the kill here. Wartburg would stay aggressive throughout the set, winning 25-15. In the second, the Knights would sneak their way past the Beavers as senior libero Marissa Shinstein gets the point here. Fellow senior Ramey Seek took over from there, placing the ball perfectly between 2 Beaver defenders, then spiking the ball with authority to end the second 25-12. In the third, Buena Vista would give the Knights a run for their money, with Maddie Bardoli and Chelsea Clayton getting kills to take an early lead. It wouldn't be enough, however, as the Knights would go on an 11-4 run to end the match, 25-16, defeating BV in 3 straight sets. The team returns to action next week on the road against Luther. After losing their shot at a regular season Iowa Conference title to Luther, the men's soccer team would look for payback in the Iowa Conference Tournament semifinals. Both the men's and women's soccer teams were in action this past week. Let's get to the highlights. On Wednesday, the women's soccer team was in action against non-conference opponent McAllister. The Knights' defense was tested early as junior goalkeeper Katie Reiner gets a nice save here to keep the game scoreless. On the offensive end, sophomore Brittany Fresh sparked the Knights early as she scored her 3rd goal of the season to put the Knights up 1-0. The score remained 1-0 until the start of the second half, but McAllister would storm back with Bonnie Gale and Lily Jilk leading the charge. McAllister would prove to be too much for the Knights, and with the last-second goal by Jilk, McAllister would seal the victory over the Knights by a score of 3-1. After the men's and women's teams picked up road wins against Central on Saturday, the men were back in action the following day, taking on non-conference opponent Bethel. President Colson was out to watch the soccer team face off for a Sunday afternoon match. We pick things up with Wartburg down 1-0 when Dan Nadeau tries to tie the game up but slips while trying to kick the ball. Wartburg would take a 1-0 deficit into halftime, but the Knights' fortune would start to change when Chris Nothnick puts his pass right on the money to Zabina Zari for the perfect strike off his foot to tie things up at 1. Then just a minute later, freshman Paris Martins gets the ball past the pursuing Bethel goalie and kicks the ball into the empty net to go up 1. That's all they would need as Wartburg goes on to win this one 2-1. The squad will play again next Saturday at the University of Dubuque. Coming into Saturday night's championship game, the Knights were looking to beat Loras for the second time this season, but it was not meant to be. The Wartburg volleyball team set a goal this season to not drop a set in Iowa Conference play. They got their first test against Central at home on Tuesday. The Dutch were the only team to take a set from the Knights in the Iowa Conference last year. Wartburg made sure that wasn't the case this season. The Knights were in action last Tuesday, taking on Central College in their first home game of the season. The gym was rocking on Parents' Night, and even UNI head football coach Mark Farley made the trip down from Cedar Falls to watch his daughter. The Knights started strong in the first set, with senior Kelly Neiman getting the kill here. Junior Bailey Wilson would take over from there, finding the soft spot of the defense, then smashing the next two down the line, giving the Knights an early advantage. Then, in what was perhaps the longest play of the night, a total of 19 players struck the ball before a point was scored. Here it is in high speed for you, with Kelly Neiman finally getting the point, putting the first match away by a score of 25-18. In the second, the Knights picked up right where they left off, this time Maddie Forsyth recording the kill. The Knights would run away with it in the second as the Dutch were left scrambling for most of the set. The front line dominated the second, sending 1, 2, and 3 kills right down the heart of the Dutch defense, taking the second set by a score of 25-17. In the third, the Knights put the hammer down, not giving the Dutch a chance for a comeback, with several underclassmen contributing. Kaylin Ertz would follow the act, recording the final point of the game, giving the Knights a 25-15 win and sweeping Central 3-0. The Knights traveled to Dubuque on Tuesday to take on Iowa Conference opponent Loras. A win against Central would all but clinch a playoff spot for the football team, but the Dutch came to Waverly prepared for battle.
With those top teams
on a blustery Saturday afternoon at Walston Hoover Stadium, two evenly matched opponents squared off with playoff implications on the line. Central would have good field position in the first quarter after a block punt, and after this touchdown catch by Blaine Forsyth was called back for holding, quarterback Brendan Berm would take it himself on a 23-yard run, putting the Dutch up 7-0. Later in the first, the Knights took advantage of a Dutch fumble on their own 24-yard line, with Brandon Domeyer capping the drive off with a 1-yard touchdown run for the Knights. The Dutch would respond at the end of the first quarter, ending a 68-yard scoring drive with this 30-yard run by Josh Osborne, giving Central a 14-7 lead. In the second, a Dutch turnover would once again give the Knights good field position, this time with Logan Schrader at quarterback showing his best Houdini impersonation, escapes danger and finds the end zone on a 12-yard touchdown scramble, cutting the deficit to 1. The score would stay 14-13 into halftime in favor of the Dutch and would remain that way until the fourth quarter. This was when kicker Michael Bulkey would give the Knights the lead midway through the fourth, connecting on a 28-yard field goal to make the score 16-14. Then with the Dutch down to their final hope of a comeback, quarterback Aaron Essler would be picked off by All-American linebacker Ryan Billings to steal the Knights' 16-14 victory. The Knights now stand alone atop the Iowa Conference, and with the win again, next weekend will capture the regular season title. That's all the time we have for this edition of Sports Night. Have a good night, Cedar Valley.